So it's happened again. It's a new year. And during one of these inflection points, we ask a lot of ourselves. You know, you want to put a period on last year, you want to reflect on all of your accomplishments, and then you want to make a whole new list of accomplishments for next year. Yet you want to feel refreshed and creative and rejuvenated. It's a pretty tall order. So I've developed a few DIYs and some tips to make your next year the most fulfilling, creative one yet. And it all starts with a walk. So let's go. A walk is a great place to start clearing your mind of all your worries and filling it with inspiration instead. Remember that game you used to play as a kid where you look up at the clouds and see if they remind you of something? Like an animal or a monster or a hamburger? This is a great exercise for adults as well. In fact, science says that it's a form of creative meditation that takes very little effort and reduces cortisol levels. I'm sure there's a study somewhere that says that. Maybe like a kid's science fair? I don't know. I feel like people are always down on getting older, like all the good times are behind them and there's nothing to look forward to anymore. But these are like the juiciest years for creativity, because creativity is just gathered experiences, wisdom, and making, connections between disparate ideas. So look on to this new year as something exciting to look forward to, and start just keeping your antennas out, looking for new ideas and new forms of inspiration. One of the ways that I do that is by grabbing some googly eyes and placing them onto inanimate objects. It's a fun practice that makes you see things, in this case faces, in just everyday items. Bingo. For our first DIY, we're going to make a time capsule. I think it's a really great way to just reflect on the whole year and to get your mind thinking about potential ideas for next year. I actually got this idea when I found an old one that I'd made, or at least a map to an old one, so look forward to a future videos to see if I'm actually able to locate that time capsule. But in the meantime, when you're trying to think of something to put in your time capsule, think of things that evoke an actual emotion, a memory, or something like that. Ideas for a time capsule include ticket stubs, a list of songs that were your anthem for this year, a recipe you mastered or completely bombed, pictures, crafts, a ghost, game pieces. The ideas are endless. One of the things that I do that's different every year is I host the family over for Boxing Day. It's like my one holiday a year. And I kind of develop a menu around an item that I've always wanted to cook, and everything on this menu is new to me. So I wrote out my little menu, and this year I made mole chicken, and it was fabulous, but it took way too long, so I'm never doing that again. But that'll go in there. Then I thought about this event I went to. I went to a concert with all three of my sisters. I don't think you can really find tickets anymore, so I just made fake tickets and kind of wrote the event on there. As we get older, it's a little bit harder to, get everyone together. So it was kind of a really great memory to have all three of my sisters in one place. Of course, you can add pictures. I'll be putting some in there. These are some pictures of my grandparents. Unfortunately, I lost a few grandparents in the last couple of years, so I wanted some mementos that would remind me of them. So pictures were great, but also I put in a deck of cards because my grandparents love to gamble, and they always lived next to a casino. And when the casinos were done with the cards, they've been played too much, they would sell them to anybody. They would clip the edges so that you couldn't, cheat or deal out cards from underneath your sleeve or something. So they taught us how to play a lot of games with these, new games I'd never played before, so it always reminds me of them. Furthermore, I'm going to add some vanilla extract because that is what I made during the pandemic. So if you had any pandemic hobbies that are actually in a physical way, maybe you painted stuff, maybe you have a picture of something that you made that you're really proud of, or something that you're not, but it just sort of exemplified your time, go ahead, stick that in there. I want you to also think it doesn't have to be super linear, it doesn't have to be of just this year. It can be of the past couple of years. For me, I think in a very thematic way, not as linear. So, do what feels good to you. The last thing I thought to put in was this weird item that my brother-in-law and sister made. And it has to do with this sofa that I have. So when I was researching sofas, I was kind of obsessive about it. And it took me a long time to decide on this. It took a long time for this to come. I wanted it to be a certain color. It was modular. I wanted to be able to change the different, covers on it, the cushions if it didn't work very long. And I will always be talking about this. And so they took one of the swatches and made a miniature version of the couch. Oh, it's got hair and all sorts of gross stuff on it. Anyways, it's a miniature version of it. And I think it's made out of like a, I don't know, Joe's O's container as well. So that'll go in there as well. Another thing I'd like to suggest is just writing yourself a letter. You can write about experiences, things you've learned, things you hope you'll learn in the years to come, kind of like a snapshot of the year. When you're thinking of other things to put in here, you could put like journal pages if you want. You could write a story. You could just think of the different things that were important to you. Sometimes I even put like little quotes in there. Maybe you had a good luck charm, maybe you had a bad luck charm. I don't know, throw it all in there. So I have one of these guys because it's indestructible. It's like a ammunition case. All that's left to do is to gather all your items and place them into a container for later. And if you want to be a little bit extra like me, you can add something scary like these cockroaches I found online, so that when I open them in the future, it might give me a little bit of surprise. I live in an apartment, so I can't really bury it in the yard. Mine will be stored instead next to some other useless junk, like this old laptop. In order to set myself up for a great new year, I'm looking for some small, easy projects that will have a positive impact on my daily life. Large goals can seem so daunting and overwhelming, and you just don't even want to start them. So by taking on a few bite-sized tasks, I can feel a sense of accomplishment and keep that creative ball rolling. Whether that's removing impediments or organizing a drawer or moving furniture around just to give yourself a little bit of a refresh. One of the easy tasks I decided to take on was upgrading my Nespresso maker. As you can see, it's this boring black edition. I think it only comes in 2 colors, but now it shall come in 3 because I shall take it apart. A little scared about doing that, but I don't think it's that hard. It's just 2 screws at the bottom, and I'm gonna upgrade it to a nice ballet pink. I think that goes well with the other accompanying black parts. That was a struggle. Now my coffee is going to be doing double duty by getting me through the day and looking cute. So our place is refreshed, but now we need to bring a little bit more attention to our minds, maybe refresh our minds a little bit. I find one of the best ways to do this is to use your hands more. We're always overstimulated by screens, but if you take on a manual task that keeps your hands in the present, it kind of lets your mind wander a bit. Hopefully it'll wander to creative pursuits and not your to-do list. But either way, I think it's a really great way to get your mind moving past, the day-to-day, tribulations and onto really interesting ideas that power you through the year. For me, one of the best things to do is to grab a pomegranate and then shuck all of the seeds out of it. Pomegranates are one of my favorite fruits, but they're such a hassle, so now I'm trying to take it as a sort of meditation and a good thing for me. Plus, immediate reward, you're going to eat all those seeds. So one last question for you. As you can see, winter has come and my soul is just getting darker, and I kind of want to get more into that coziness, that moodiness. So I'm thinking about a living room refresh. Maybe some like dark charcoal walls, maybe some, portraits with eyes all staring at you. What do we think? Please comment below. And if you want to see how the living room looks right now, check out this Jungalow makeover that I did in a previous video. Until next time.